plays real quick, and like I'm gonna kind of like show you like how to like look for reviews and everything. I wish I had one of my games so that way I could show you guys exactly where it is, because you don't have to. So let me first say this: you don't have to watch the entire game. If you go into your game, if you go back into the VOD right after the game's over, you can finish a replay like super quick. You can finish it within a couple minutes. Now, if you don't go into the VOD right away and watch the replay, it's way more difficult because you won't remember exactly what happens. So you have to like watch the whole game basically to try and remember where your mistakes are and everything, versus actually fast forwarding to the mistakes and then figuring them out. So like what I'm going to do real quick, give me a second here. I'm going to fast forward to like a team fight. I'm going to turn this volume down all the way because I don't know how loud it's going to be. Let me know if you guys can't hear me, by the way. Let me find a team fight real fast. I want to find a team fight like where he dies. Let me see here. Let's see if we can find a good team fight. It'll probably be later in the game.
Top turret is under attack.
Alright, looks like we got a team fight going right here. Alright, so here we go. We have our first team fight. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. All right, so we're just going to watch this team fight first because I don't actually know what happens, like I said, because this isn't my game. And then we'll see like where the mistakes possibly happen. And then we'll break it down from there. Okay. So we know what the mistakes are. Let's rewind this a little bit. Okay, so we're going to break down this fight real fast and kind of look at it. So first what happens is red team is looking at this as like, okay, we kind of have an even fight because red team is down Annie, but Nautilus is top lane, okay? And there's 4 of them right here, right in front of the Ashe and right in front of the half health Lee Sin. Whereas the other 2 members are on the opposite side, or like one member's further down, Lucian, so he's not in a place where he can impact the fight, and Morgana's also in a spot where she can't impact the fight. So immediately red team is looking like, okay, we have an advantage right here, let's try and press this fight. But the Ashe is able to flash out and get herself in a position to where they now have the help of Lucian, okay? Then the Morgana then flashes away, as you can see over there, to get out of position. And all this time, while they're trying to decide who to go in after, they're tanking the Lucian ult. So basically what happened is, for the red team, I'm not going to do this from Yami's perspective because I don't know what it is. I'm just going to show you how to break this down. If I'm the red team right now, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, we have a good engage right now onto them, because it's a 4v2. Once the Ashe flashes away, they're now in a position to where the advantage is gone, and they're actually going to be in a position where they could potentially be getting pinched, okay? Because the Lucian is coming up and he's ulting them, so they try to disengage, but while they're going on the Morgana flashes away and gets position. But the whole time while doing that, as you can see, they're tanking this Lucian ult. And now what happens is they start getting in range of the Ashe volley. So now they're slowed and they're not able to escape. Okay? And then what makes things even worse, as you can see right here, the Shen dives in 1v3. So we're going to go through all this and then we'll kind of break down like how they could have approached it. The Shen dives in 1v4 and then dies. They stay with basically no health. get hit by a ton of CC, die, and now they're going to lose first plate and basically this entire tower. Okay? Alright, so if I was red team, what would I do differently in this situation? Okay, so they don't have like any alts up other than the Lulu alt. Okay, so if they were going to engage on this, they had to do one of two things. One, they had to hard commit. So what happened here is they did a soft commit on this engage. They see this, they miss. The Lulu expects the hard engage, and she pops her ult onto the Jinx right away. Okay? But then, because they don't hard engage right here, and they immediately run away, they made two decisions at once. This is what happens a lot of times in game. A team makes a decision to do something, and then they don't stick to the decision. Okay? What they should have done is probably hard engaged in on this. They could have, the Shen could have flash, taunted, or the flash was done, but he could have continued to move forward, taunted the Lucian. Then they could have engaged onto the Lee Sin, which would have been better than basically walking forward, tanking this entire ult from the Lucian, then trying to engage on the Morgana, continuing to tank the entire ult from the Lucian. Look at this. The Shen basically tanked the entire ult of the Lucian, and he's still basically full health. So if that Lucian, he had like 75% health or something like that. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He's like 75% health, and he basically tanked the entire ult. If the Shen would have just tanked the ult of the Lucian, and the so basically look where the Ashe is right now. Just go a little bit to the right. That's basically where Jinx was, and then Lee Sin was basically right there. If they would have just continued to move forward, they could have killed the Lee Sin. But instead what happened is the team couldn't make a decision together. Part of the team was saying, hey, let's go this way. The Jinx started going forward, and the enemy team backed up and went in. So, like, if I'm the Shen in this situation, I realize my team is going to follow me on where I go because I'm the team initiator. And I basically gave confusing signals to my team on what we're going to do. I started to approach them like I was going to engage. Then I ran away, started to approach the Morgana, and then ran away, and then just left, and then came back in, 1v4, and died. For no reason whatsoever. Okay? So, if I was the Shen in this game, how I would look at that is say, okay, I need to do a better job at making a decision, sticking to that decision, and realizing that like my whole team is following the decision that I made. And because what happened is they made a decision, which going in on them, that like 2v4, 3v4 that it turned into, it wasn't like the best team fight in the world at all. Like, it really wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, wow, this is a stellar team fight. We're going to win this hands down. No questions asked. And then switching and going in onto the Morgana was once again also not like that was actually a bad decision because then they just started tanking everything. But because they didn't actually like stick with one thing, they just sat there for like 15 seconds tanking damage for no reason. And then once you have somebody like Morgana and Ashe, they're able to kite you so well. And it's exactly what they did. They just started slowing and kiting the whole team, and they were basically able to take down the entire team. And so, like, if you just look at it like that, that's a good way to break down, like, the fight. Like, okay, what champion are you? What could you have done that would have better helped the team? In this situation for the Shen is he continued to change what he was doing. 1 second he's like, let's go in on the team in the Dragon Pit. Next second he's like, no, let's go in on the the Morgana. Next second he's like, no, let's run away. Next second he's like, no, I'm going back in 1v4. Okay? So having those constant switches of like decision making is basically what cost them the fight. Versus, and I'm not guaranteeing that they would have won that fight 3v5, but it would have been a more successful interaction if they would have approached it that way. Okay, that's kind of like the best way I would say to like really break down a fight. And then like if you know where the fights are and you know where those interactions are going to happen, you just go into the game and you do that. Okay, so like if you do it right afterwards, or as long as you still remember what happened in the game and where those situations were, where things went wrong for your team, fast forward to them, watch them in slow motion, pause them every couple like minutes, because unfortunately this game's stupid and it doesn't let you rewind for some stupid reason. You can only fast forward or play. Why you can't rewind is beyond me. It makes absolutely no sense. But that's basically how you would break down like your gameplay to learn from. And honestly, like more than anything, watching your gameplay and watching your VODs and trying to learn from the mistakes, it is the best way to improve. Like by far, it's not even close. It's better than watching my stream. It's better than watching my like review video or my breakdown videos and everything. Well, I would say watching breakdown videos, I'd say it's a mix. So it's different. So because if you're an Emerald player, as an example, and you're watching your videos, you may not know what you did wrong, so you don't actually know how to break down, how to fix the situation. So I'd say it's actually, in some ways it's equal, I'd say they're equal. Like, if you're a high-level player, like maybe you're, Grandmaster, Challenger, you're going to get more value out of probably watching your film than you are from like watching a streamer or watching a YouTube video. But even me, I still watch streams and I still watch YouTube videos as well to learn from them. So like I definitely still think there's value because I myself still do it. So you have to look at it from both ways. But if you don't know how to break down your film, then watching somebody like me, who has like if you're Emerald and you were watching that team fight a while ago where it was all the mistakes the Shen made. If you're Emerald, you may not know how to identify where the mistakes came from. So watching a player like me, who's upper level Grandmaster, and you get my perspective on what I see went wrong in a team fight, it's going to unlock experience and understanding that you don't have in order to help you accelerate your learning as well, okay? That's basically like the way you have to look at it. But like I said, I think there's always value at all times. I even still watch film. I still watch players that are better than me play. I still watch YouTube videos of players that are better than me play and learn from them. Most of the stuff I learn either from watching my film or by watching players that are better than me's streams or YouTube channels. Like that's how I learn as well. The same thing like you guys are doing right now. I learn those things and I apply them to my games, which makes me more successful in the future. Like here's another great example. This time we'll actually use the Ashe as an example because this is actually another really good, just from lightly watching this. So here, the Ashe shoots her arrow, okay, and gets an engage on the Renekton, which is great. I mean, that's great. The Lucian's right there. So you got to hit that arrow because the Renekton can kill the Lucian 1v1 right now. Unless he just plays it absolutely perfectly. But he is half health. But if the Renekton gets a good stun on him, able to get a stun, get a burst, and then utilizes his 2 dashes properly, the Lucian dies. So it's a great Ashe arrow. So he starts off great. This is the next thing he did that was really well. So he's going to engage. So I don't know if you guys noticed just like a split second ago. Oh, dang it, did he really go that far? A split second ago, let me just rewind it like, there we go. All right, pay attention. It's going to come here in a second. He's going to shoot his vision. See, he shot his vision, which this is huge, okay? He's starting the fight off perfect. He shot his arrow to give the Lucian the advantage, okay? If you look at the health of the Renekton in the bottom right-hand corner, he's basically dead. Then, because he's engaging into a fight where there's no vision, he shoots his vision, okay? So he can now see the enemies coming. Because he sees the enemies coming, this is where he starts to mess up, okay? His angle that he takes to this fight is completely wrong, okay? He's positioning himself in a way right now. He's completely susceptible to the Jinx and to the Lulu, okay? He's in a position extremely susceptible because the Jinx can auto-attack with rockets over the wall, and the Lulu can get over there to him real quick as well. But he still does have the security of the wall, so it's not like the worst positioning, but it's not great. Now this is where it gets bad, okay? He hard positions in front, okay? He hard positions in front. So the Lucian was just where the Shen was just a couple seconds ago, and the Ashe was a little further down in the river on the other side. She should not have positioned herself in a way to be on this side of the rock, of where the rock is. I wish there was a way I could like point things to you guys. So you see where the chompers are? The chomper closest to Shen? Okay? She should have been like about a body's length to the left of that top chomper, and to the bottom right if you're Lucian. So basically where those cracks meet and make like the bottom part of the Y, basically, or the U, whatever you want to call it, closest to the grass. She should have been standing somewhere closer to that angle versus coming in an angle that's the side. And the reason why is because you just knew the Lulu was right around the corner. You just knew the Jinx was right around the corner. You can assume that the enemy team is coming to back up to try and save their teammate. So by standing here, you're putting yourself as an ADC, an extremely non-tanky champion, even if it's just the Renekton, Lulu, and Jinx. You're in a 1v3 situation to where you can get instantly polymorphed by the Lulu and blown up. So he puts himself in an attack position when it's a 3v2, when he should be putting himself in a defense position. And then what happens? He immediately gets engaged on and gets blown up, okay? Now his team, basically, they're stronger so they win, but they could have been at a bigger disadvantage, advantage, win that fight even harder and everything. But just like giving an example, like they're pretty far ahead. It's 23-10, so it's not like a, oh my gosh, you lost us the game kind of thing. But like that's another example of like how to watch your film and learn from it. So the next time you're in a situation like that, because he had all the information he needed to make a good decision. Because he used his Seeker, he knew that the enemy was coming and everything. So he had all the information he needed to make a good decision. However, he didn't utilize the information on the map to make an educated decision on how to actually continue to approach the situation. Instead, what he did is like, oh, they're low, I want to kill, I'm going to go on in and try and get a kill. Which instead happened is exactly what you think would happen. Like, oh, of course the enemy is going to come and try and help their teammate. And they did. And then he positions aggressively when he already knows it's a 3v. It's basically a 3v1 if he positions there, because the Lucian's on the run back with his ult. So you're basically putting yourself in a 3v1 position, low health or not, 3v1, and you're an Ashe, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. Just like every single time. Like every single time. Well, maybe not every single time. You're gonna die probably 95% of the time unless you make some great outplay or something like that. And it's all about like averages, law of averages and everything. If the higher rank you get, like you want to try and win, and you want to be oh wow, that was nice. You want to try and win, you want to be aggressive and everything, but you want to make calculated aggression. That's the thing that a lot of players don't understand. Like when I say like play to win, don't play to lose. It's not that you're playing passive and you're waiting for the mistake to capitalize on. In this concept, it translates to every elo. Every elo. Okay? Because even at like low elo, the enemy's going to make a mistake that once you realize like, okay, this is the mistake, I now have the statistical advantage, I'm going to win. Yes, there's going to be opportunities where it's like, I have to outplay to win, or I have to outplay or we lose the game. Like, there's going to be situations like that. But the majority of the time, the vast majority of a game, that is not the case. The vast majority of the game, it's, I am looking for a statistical advantage to then capitalize on top of, and then turn that micro disadvantage into a macro disadvantage, okay? That is playing calculated, okay? That is playing to win the lane, not playing to lose the lane. Because you're looking at the situation, you're analyzing whether or not, okay, is this a fight that I win? Is this a fight that I lose? If we engage here, do we lose more than we gain if we win it? Or do we gain more than we lose, vice versa? Okay, am I going to lose more than I gain, or am I going to gain more than I lose? You know, if we lose this fight, if it's something risky, like, 'cause sometimes you're in situations where like things have to be risky. You have to ask yourself, like, okay, like for example, do I contest Baron? You have to ask yourself, is this if I go to Baron right now, trying to contest it, and we steal it, do we win the game? Yes? Okay, cool. We win the game if we steal this. Okay, if I go to Baron and we try and contest this, but we steal it, we win, we die, we lose? Okay, maybe I gotta think a little bit more. Okay, now I ask myself, okay, if I go, the next question I ask myself out of these 3 questions is, okay, if we don't go to Baron and try and contest it, and they get it, do we lose? If the answer is no, we don't lose, then you probably don't contest Baron, because you're at a statistical disadvantage. So you basically have to look at it like, okay, I can go to Baron, try and contest it. If I'm able to make some crazy outplay, we win the game. But if I'm not able to make a crazy statistical outplay, we lose the game. However, if they get Baron and we do not get Baron, we don't lose the game. See how, you see how like when you just word it out that way, it makes perfect brainless sense. But in the moment, people don't ask themselves those questions. You have to ask yourself the question, like, how does this impact me winning the game and destroying the enemy, like, Nexus? How does this impact it? Does it help it or does it hurt it? You got to ask yourself questions like that, even like when analyzing your film and all that jazz. Okay? Okay, but anyways, let's go ahead and let's play some games now. I think you guys have heard enough of me rambling as well about this and that. Let me see if I can get was this helpful? Did you guys feel like this was helpful information? If you felt like this was helpful information, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you liked this, if you didn't like this. Like I said, I've had some people messaging me, asking for information like this, so I wanted to do it as well. Let me see if we can get like a 5-man going. If we can get like a 5-man going, that'd be fun. I'm gonna check the... See if I can find somebody who's doing 5-mans.